so this video was inspired by a conversation that I recently had with a coworker. So now, me and this coworker, we've been working together for a couple of months now, and so she, I knew from day one that she was married to a man, right? So the conversation that we were having, it was about a recent gay pride parade that was had locally. So we're talking about that, and in the conversation, she ends up telling me that she's bisexual. So I said, I was like, oh, okay, because I really didn't think about it and never included she was. Obviously, she knew that I was gay because from day one, oh, so are you married? You have the normal introductory conversation that lots of people have every day. So, anyways, in this conversation, she ends up saying that she didn't think that gay pride parades were actually necessary anymore. And my first reaction was to be like, what? But then, here's the thing. I'm super cognizant of the fact that most of us, like when you're thinking about your parents or your grandparents, people as we get older, we tend to get stuck in a decade, to where we just firmly, we don't progress and we don't think that society and culture has progressed, and our, just our thought processes are kind of stuck in a certain decade. I'm aware that that happens, and that's probably going to happen to me. So whenever I'm having a conversation with someone who she's considerably younger than I am, that thought creeps into my head. Like, is this one of those moments to where culture and society has progressed, and I'm just stuck somewhere in the 80s? So I just kind of I didn't want to engage because I just was let me think about this. So I'm just kind of okay. Quick sidebar. Something that my dad said to me, of course, when I was in my early teens, I remember him saying a comment to me where he said, I have no expression. I don't even know why we were having this conversation, but he said something like I don't move my eyebrows, my face, I'm very flat, and that I needed to work on that. Again, I don't know why we had this conversation, but he ends up telling me this. I bring this up just to mention because apparently since that, lots has changed as far as my expression, because I really was not trying to have any expression, but she could tell. She's like, I feel like you want to say something. And I said, okay. I said, I disagree. And I do think that pride festivals and parades and just knowledge, and just all that is still necessary. I said, I just think we have different experiences in life. Like I said, for me, I said, I think you have a luxury, and I'm not trying to knock bisexuals when I say this, but for you specifically, you have the luxury of being able to be yourself and be your truthful self without having to lie or to hide anything. There was no reason for you to tell me that you're bisexual, right? That you told me you're married, which you are, and it's to a man, and that's true. And so you could easily move on building this relationship without having to say anything else. Now, me, on the other hand, when we first met, and you're asking me who I am, who I'm with, what's my situation, I either have to lie to you or tell you the truth. And so, because I'm not into lying anymore, or hiding myself, I'm going to tell you the truth. Now, from my experience, and this is not just something that's decades ago, this is something that still happens every time. I've had several jobs, so I'm meeting tons of people, and this happens over and over again. But you see different reactions to where when someone doesn't know who you are sexual-wise, they can build a certain type of relationship, and when they find out, I have seen it literally happen to where the relationship will kind of morph into something different. And again, it's not that they're gonna beat me up after work, it's nothing crazy like that, but the relationship does change once they find out. I said, first off, I think there's still an element with where lesbianism or bisexual with females is more accepted or just viewed differently than gay men or bisexual men. I think there's a difference, and I think secondly, you have the opportunity of starting a relationship where there is nothing different between the two parties until you want to introduce that. And then for me, it's from day one there's something different, and either you can rock with that or you don't. And I think that still exists. I said, furthermore, if you want to know the real truth, I think that in the 90s, I just kind of think that we were like in this rush to be progressive, right? Like, I just remember like all the stuff about, being homophobic and racist and sexist, and like all this stuff was coming out in the 90s. And I think a lot of people, fearing that they would be called out for feeling a certain way, would just put up this, I don't care. Like, I don't care what you are. I don't care who you are. All of this stuff, that was kind of like this response. And for me, like, I just remember thinking like, it's kind of weird how like, just like a light switch just flipped, and now all of a sudden everyone's woke and just everything's cool. Something doesn't match. So my thoughts on the situation as far as with our society and where our culture is at, is that I think that we were in a rush, or we still are in a rush to be post everything. We want to be post homophobic, post racist, post sexist, and I think we're not doing the work to do that, because this is something that in our society, in our culture, has been ingrained for decades. And just because someone says you shouldn't think that way, and you say, okay, I don't think that way, that doesn't really change anything. And I think, I don't want to make this about politics, but I think recently you can see where, I guess I'm just going to have to say this, but like when Trump, I remember watching the Republican convention and him making a comment about pretty much like the gay people. He didn't have a problem with gay people. And now you had all of these conservative people in the audience who kind of clapped like, oh my gosh, what a different type of Republican, because he's saying this. And that's not something you would normally hear from Republicans, right? But then you look at who they're appointing and who they're nominating and all this other stuff and what they're actually saying. And it's kind of like contrary to what was happening in that convention center. So it's like, that convention. So it's like, what's actually going on here? Was it more important for him to seem like he was current and up to date and to say something like that, and for the people to say, oh, I'm cool too, so I'm gonna applaud? But really, when you come down to it, if we really have progressed as a society and as a culture, then would we still be having this conversation like where we're questioning whether gay marriage should still exist? And again, I will broaden this out to include racism and sexism, because to me it's all lumped together as far as like, I don't think that we have really progressed that. We have progressed, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's as big of a leap as we like to think that it is, because so many of us are not voting that way, if that makes any sense. Or again, going back to what I was originally saying, I do know what it's like when someone knows about my sexuality, and they're not rushing to get away from me, but there is a pull, there's like a little pause and a little distance that happens, and it's subtle, but it's there, and I know it, and I know that it's not just me. So that was kind of what I was saying. I think I don't know how this is going to end up. Maybe it'll end up actually helping with progress, but do I think that we have progressed as far to the point where we don't need to fight for our rights? And again, whatever category you want to mention, no, I don't think we're there. I think, as we can tell with Roe versus Wade, we may think that we're somewhere, but we're actually not, and we'll get checked. It's like if you put your guard down, you're gonna see what happens when someone's like, oh, I'm amongst people where I don't have to worry about how I really think, and I can really vote and think and spew out stuff without being attacked for it. Then you're gonna see how far we really have progressed, and I think we've gotten a taste of that. I don't think we're done with that. I think I think we still have a lot of work to do. But really, I just wanted to make this video to kind of engage with you all and to see if you think differently. If maybe you might say, no, I think you are grandpa, you are in a time warp and we have progressed. Again, I'm not saying that's not possible. So I would like to hear from you guys. Let me know if we have progressed, if you think we're post homophobic. I Again, I don't think so, but maybe we are. Or if you have your own similar stories, your own input, just whatever. I just want to engage with you all. So please like, subscribe, and more importantly, comment, and just let me know your ideas and your thoughts on this, okay?